Coming up on this week's pod, Neal and I discuss Disney making major cuts and how they plan to manage their money. I also give my full food review for Roundup Rodeo BBQ, and there's a new charcuterie board at Oga's Cantina.
I'm the goat of Disney. I eat everything. All right, everybody, it's Cory story time. So kick back, relax, put your feet up, and get ready to listen to this one. We're not just going to report Disney news and just talk about it. I mean, that's already been done a million times. But then again, we do love Disney news. We will talk about some. So Tammy has me running all over Disney World looking for this new Loungefly. Jillian loves China so much that if she was ever lost, she would need a tag on her shirt that says, "If lost, return me to China." Jacob's my dude. Jacob is my tech man. He makes me sound good. I'm the goat of Disney. I didn't ask for that title. I was given it. Or maybe I earned it.
So right off, we had two amazing food experiences this past weekend, and I have to talk about them. The first one, it was what I call a bro day. It was just the boys. Jacob and I went out and experienced two brand new food experiences. And like I said, I got to talk about them. So we went to Oga's Cantina, which we have frequented here and there. I feel like Oga's is really cool. I don't think that it's something you need to do every trip to Hollywood Studios. I mean, if you're going, 2 times a month to Hollywood Studios or whatever, I don't think you need to frequent Oga's that much. It's more for the atmosphere, I guess if you're drinking alcohol, then you might want to frequent it more often. The atmosphere is outstanding. But we don't drink alcohol. Obviously, he doesn't, and I don't either, and neither does my wife, Tammy. So I would just say, for the novelty of it, we like to go and have a Powerade drink, that steams. Like we like the Carbon Freeze. So we got the Carbon Freeze. It's our favorite because it's steamy, it's fruity, it's good. But I want to talk about the charcuterie board. There's a brand new charcuterie board that came out, and I cannot find online anywhere of anyone listing it. So we might be the first YouTube outlet to actually try this and review it. And with that said, unfortunately, it's not even showing up on the Disney World website. So I can't even look at the menu of it, which is really, really odd. But it's called the Happiest Sampler. And if you're not fluent in Disney knowledge, a happiest is actually the big animal. If I'm thinking back, just compare it to like the size of like a rhino. This happiest was drinking out of a water fountain area in the middle of town when F1287 Stormtrooper fell into the water, and it lifts its head in Force Awakens. So that's what the animal is, and you're supposed to be eating some of the happiest meat there, along with some cheeses and some crackers, bread, things like that. Now, they fully explain what we were looking at Oga's on the charcuterie board, but it's so out of this world, really. It was really hard to remember what everything was. Now, it's good to mention that any of the bartenders will happily come over and let you know what each individual thing was. There was a couple of times where I asked, and they were more than happy to oblige and let us know what it was, but they were very happy to convey that this was a brand new thing. And it was only like 2 weeks or a little bit older than 2 weeks old. So there's tons of drinks, though, that you can get there that are really good. The Carbon Freeze, by the way, Jacob and I got that, is Powerade Lemon Lime, Wild Strawberry, Blueberry, and Green Apple Popping Pearls, which they warn you are frog eggs. And there is a frog-type alien above the bar in a tank, and there's a tubing that goes to a jar, and you can see all of his eggs there. And she warned me, she says, don't, or I should say, she says, make sure you chew up all your eggs because you don't want any of those hatching inside you. So my response was, well, let me tell you that I have seen that happen to a guy, and you do not want any part of that experience. Looking on the Disney World website, Hapabore sampler is $21, and it's described as cured in roasted meats, cheese, and pork cracklings. I'm not so sure that that was the entire description of the new one, so I don't think Disney's updated their menu, which is kind of crazy. So with that said, it was really nice to combine different flavors together. I think the hummus was our favorite. I almost want to say it had an acidic taste to it, like a mustard feel to it, but there was no mustard in it. And there was a little bit of meat, very little meat, and but it was good to make all the different combinations. So definitely say if it sounds like something that interests you, definitely try it. I think it's worth the try. The one thing I think Oga's does fall short on, and I base this on concept art, is they really should have had aliens, cast members dressed as aliens, serving. Maybe a few humans, but some aliens. They're really dropping the ball on that. I don't think at this point it's something that they would change, but I think it's something worth trying. So with that said, that's my Oga's review for the weekend. Let's move on to the brand new Roundup Rodeo BBQ. So again, to round out our day together as far as our eating adventure went, Jacob and I had a blast, and it was great to get into a brand new restaurant. I think this is the first time ever on the history of our channel that we've gotten in on the ground floor and been able to review a restaurant when it's brand spanking new. And this was Roundup Rodeo BBQ. It's listed as casual dining, and the lunch menu is the same as the dinner menu. And this is located in Disney's Hollywood Studios, Toy Story Land. The Roundup Rodeo BBQ pricing was $45 per adult, plus tax and gratuity, and $25 per child. And of course, in Disney counts you as an adult from age 10 and up. Doesn't that stink? You can't do anything at 10 or 11 or 12 in society as an adult. It's just amazing that companies can do that. So there's bread service. It starts with bread service, the Prospector's homemade cheddar biscuits, and that was with sweet pepper jelly. To me, now, please note that if you have watched our live stream of this and then you have listened to the podcast, I always feel like my review is different the next day, and it's just that you've had a chance to think about things, but there's also that space in between where you might forget a little bit of how much you disliked or liked something. So that's the way that goes. So, you can take the live review, or you can take, I feel like it's almost a little bit more honest afterwards because you're eating it, it's fresh, and you're live, and you hate to give a bad review, but, it still feels honest at the time. So, but you might skew it a little bit, not purposely, but I just feel like it's a better review of things. Even rides, new rides that you go on, it's just better when you step away a little bit. So I think the Prospector's homemade cheddar biscuits and sweet pepper jelly were good. Was it the best dinner roll that I've had in other restaurants previous to? No, not the best. but it was decent, so I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 Mickeys. Did the sweet pepper jelly make it any better? I think it was good on its own. It was fine with the sweet pepper jelly. I don't think it raised it a notch or took it down a notch. So I think they were pretty good on their own. They were decent. The next section is get a wiggle on your greens, and that included rootin' tootin' tomato salad, which had cucumbers, pickled red onion, white balsamic vinaigrette, which is plant-based, Rex's romaine and kale salad, which was apples, dried cranberries, pumpkin seeds, green goddess dressing, and Wheezy's watermelon salad, fresh torn mint, plant-based. I feel like these were all fine on their own, but I also feel like it was nothing to really wow you. But I don't know if there's a salad that really exists that wows you. Salad is salad, in my opinion. If I had to choose one or rank them, for me, I'd probably go Rex's romaine and kale salad. I know the complaint has been there hasn't been enough cranberries or pumpkin seeds or even enough dressing on it. I feel like we had a fair amount of apples for the portion we had. There were a few cranberries that I tried to incorporate the cranberries and the apple along with the greens. And I think when you did that, it brought an interesting combination to that particular salad. So that was my favorite. It was good. It was, with that, I'd probably put it slightly above average, maybe 3.5 Mickeys. You know what you get with cucumbers and, pickled red onion together. So the rootin' tootin' was fine. It looked nice. It was fresh. All the salads were very fresh. You can't go wrong with them. You won't be disappointed, but don't set your sights on, wow, this should be amazing. It's in Disney. No, it's salad. And the Wheezy's watermelon salad, I love the idea. Jacob going in thought it was an amazing idea to combine mint and watermelon. So either that just doesn't really work to begin with, or there wasn't enough mint with it. I felt like with the little bit of mint leaves that was there, I think that the watermelon was just so watery and overpowering that you really can't get enough mint in it to really change the flavor much. I just felt like I was having greens with my watermelon, and I didn't like that. Moving on to the round up some chow. So you can choose one of these. You can go with a plant-based option or a regular house smoked platter. Of course, we went with the house smoked platter, so I can't talk about the plant-based trio too much. Just to tell you what it is, the plant-based trio was combat Carlo flour, which is cauliflower, with harissa drizzle and walnut gremolata, scrumptious bratwurst, and rip-roarin' rib chop. I could say that I tried the rip-roarin' rib chop, and I didn't like it. It was like a slightly spiced meatloaf, a little bit dry. Not a fan of that one. Enjoy a platter of the following house smoked items. You can get, with this whole platter, you actually get the Evil Doctor smoked ribs, Buttercup's beef brisket. There's a sausage in my boot, fire grilled pork sausage, which is actually a Portuguese sausage, and a barbecue chicken with style. So we attacked this one. And for me, I don't say this much because I don't claim to be a great cook by any stretch, but my ribs are a 5 out of 5 Mickeys. And I'll tell you right now, I don't do much special with them. I throw them in my Instant Pot. I cook them for like 15 or 20 minutes. They're falling off the bone. I think for ribs to be a 5 out of 5, they have to meet the criteria of meaty, suck them off the bone, and have a wonderful, wonderful taste with your sauce. They lacked in the meat. They were a little bit chewy, and they were slightly 2 out of the 3 that Jacob and I tried, or even 2 out of the 4, were acceptable in that sense. So the ribs could have been better. The beef brisket now, I haven't seen anybody on social media like the beef brisket. So we went in with a low expectation, and Jacob is my expert on beef brisket. He gets beef brisket whenever it's on the menu. And he took a bite. I took a bite at the same time. We looked at each other, and we just had that look that we knew, as far as our opinion goes, everyone else was wrong. It was really good. It was really good on its own. It wasn't dry. It wasn't chewy. There was a little bit of level of fat on it, but nothing to deter me from that or him. And then we discovered the 3 sauces. You have 3 sauces on the side. You have sweet, classic, and spicy. We tried them all on all the meats. And when you put not the classic, not the spicy, the sweet on it, it took it to another level. 5 out of 5 for us on that brisket. But know that others have given it a real trashy review. Now, the sausage in my boot was a winner, 1,000%. I think it's been getting decent reviews. We loved it. That was a 5 out of 5 for me at this point on the day after. And it doesn't need sauce with it, but the sweet sauce to me enhanced it, a little bit, but it was already there on its own. The barbecue chicken, the barbecue chicken tasted like the reason why I never get a turkey leg in the parks. Looking at turkey legs in the parks gross me out. When you bite into that, it doesn't taste like a Purdue, whatever your turkey company is that you like on Thanksgiving Day. It's so far from that. I don't know what they're doing with it. And the chicken just wasn't there for us. It didn't taste good. So what I say about this smoked group of meats is, don't let what I said deter you from going to this restaurant, because I think that if you can find 2 out of the 4 items good, what happens is you try them. It's really a sampler in a sense for you, because you can try it, decide what you like, and just ask for more, which is what we did. We asked for more brisket for sure. We asked for another sausage. And I wanted to try more ribs to give it a second chance. And on the second chance for me, it did bump it up. So I'd probably give the ribs like a strong 3.75. Maybe a 4 out of 5 Mickeys. Because the one I did really, it came off the bone, but not quite 100% like I like it. Jacob's was basically a bone dipped in sauce. That was amazing in a negative way. So just decide what you want, and I think this will work for you. The next section was reach for the sides, and you can select 4 to your table. Now, we were doing this live with over 300 plus people watching, and there was some talk in the chat about how they were under the impression that you can only get 4 to a table and that's it. And it so was not the case, and I clarified it with our waiter. You can basically manufacture this so that you get everything on this menu at your table, because it's what we did. Honest to God statement, we got everything on this list. Which to me is amazing, because we're doing a food review. So how often do you get to, unless you come in with a big steaming budget, to try everything on the menu whenever you do it? That's not something I want to do. So most times when we try something in a restaurant, it's our 4 individual meals. We evaluate it. We tell you what's good there. Maybe if we go back, we try something different to give you a more overall view. I can do that in the parks when we're at a food festival and I go up to a food booth many times and say, give me everything on the menu. But here gave us that opportunity. And so what you do with your sides is they will only let you allow 4 initial things to come. After that, you can just say, give me everything else. So remember that. They had mean old potato salad, veggie slaw, campfire roasted roasted veggies, buckin baked beans, which is plant-based. So was the campfire roasted vegetables and the veggie slaw. Married spuds, which is loaded potato barrels. Forcefield fried pickles, Slinky Dog mac and cheese, and cowpoke corn on the cob, which is grilled street corn. So we tried them all, and I would just say this. Why don't we do this? Why don't we cut to the chase and just say the mean old potato salad had a nice taste to it. On taste, it's potato salad. I'd give it a 5 out of 5 Mickeys. You have to knock it down a notch just because it was like extra watery. and I like chunky potato salad. That wasn't there for me, so I just give it a 4. You have to get by the fact that texture-wise, it's going to be like milky. The veggie slaw to me didn't have enough mayonnaise. I think it was a little bit on the drier side. And the campfire roasted vegetables were as good as those can be. Those were outstanding. Obviously, they're filled with water anyway. Very watery, very tender, and you didn't really have to chew it. They pretty much dissolved in your mouth. The bucking baked beans would probably be at least a 4 out of 5 Mickeys. Believe it or not, I go old school and give me a can of Bush's baked beans, and to me, those are outstanding. These beans were bigger. It had a slight different taste to it, so I didn't give it a 5, but I think for a lot of people, they would love the baked beans. The married spuds I could do without. The loaded potato barrels, I couldn't figure out what that sauce was on them, and it really didn't do it for me, so I'd probably give those a 2 out of 5 Mickeys. The Force Field fried pickles were really amazing on their own. They didn't even need dipping sauce. So I'm going to give those a 5 out of 5 Mickeys. The Slinky Dog mac and cheese was very, very average at best. So probably a 3 out of 5 Mickeys at the most with that one. For me, probably a 2.75. The cowpoke corn on the cob was kind of missing something. Maybe a little more savory and not sweet enough. Or maybe it was, I don't know. I wouldn't say that because the sweet corn did come through. I tried street corn last week at the Flower and Garden Festival, and it was amazing. I swear I had meat on it. That combo was better, but the cowpoke corn on the cob, I would get again. So let me give that about a 4 out of 5 Mickeys. It was pretty good. Now let's get to the desserts. The Chuck Wagon desserts were amazing. And again, there's 4 choices for the adults and 1 for children, which was the cupcake a la Forky, which was gooey chocolate cake, graham cracker, buttercream, and sugar cookie. And you had the Bo's, for adults, you had the Bo's lemon and blueberry cheesecake, the Goat's apple pie, Billy's chocolate silk pie, and Gruff's peach strawberry pie. The Bo's lemon and berry was off the chain. 5 out of 5 Mickeys. Strong blueberry, strong lemon. It probably canceled out the cheesecake taste a little bit. The Goat's apple pie was good, but average. The Billy Goat's chocolate silk pie, again, was off the chain. 5 out of 5 Mickeys. Super chocolatey. The cream, the whipped cream or whatever it was so smooth. And paired well with the super smooth chocolate. I don't know how you get smoother than like pudding, but that mousse was smooth. And lastly, the plant-based one was Gruff's peach strawberry pie. That was nice. So think about strawberry and cream together. The peach added a whole new different type of taste together. So it was nice. It was nice. And the cupcake a la Forky, the presentation was great. Forky didn't taste very good to me, but the cake itself was very good. So the little ones are like that. You can also try it yourself. And once again, just like the sides, you can take, each person can order their own dessert. After that, you can have them all come. You can have them all for each person if you want. And also off to the side, we ordered, there's additional refreshments that you can order. And the ones we tried, Jacob tried the Party Source Rex, which was $6.50 additional. It was Minute Maid Premium Lemonade and strawberry puree garnished with gummy candy. And for $6.50, I got the Frozen Cowpoke Cocoa, which was frozen cocoa and Minute Maid Vanilla Smoothie topped with mini marshmallows. We loved them both. I'd give them both a 5 out of 5 Mickeys. And that's it, folks. That is my speedy review, but I feel like it was very efficient and very gave you a lot of information. So hopefully you can take that and decide if this is for you. The experience was amazing when they have the overhead speakers play, Andy coming by. You have to act like toys and freeze, and that's a lot of fun. I mean, the entire restaurant freezes until he goes away. There's also a few other audio recordings that kind of interact with you all. So, and it's endless as far as what you can see for the atmosphere. Take your time, take pictures, take it all in, look around, enjoy. This is something for us being annual pass holders where we can go anytime. I would limit it to once a year, and that's how I would handle it. I think if you feel like this is something you want to do, if you like barbecue, I think you should try it. I think you can find something within the platter that satisfies you. Know that the salad is average. Pick out the sides that work for you because you can try everything. I think you can make this work, and the atmosphere is worth going to. So, let us know at livingindiz@gmail.com if you plan on doing this and if you're excited or the review actually kind of solidified that you should not do this. So, due to other things coming up on past podcasts, I had to hold off on a little bit of what Neal and I talked about several weeks ago, but I feel like this is a conversation that's certainly worth keeping for the podcast. So enjoy this lengthy conversation between Neal and me about Disney making a bunch of budget cuts. We go into detail as to where they're supposed to be cut and why, and our opinions. And please note that this was done before cast members just got that $18 an hour raise, and I'm so excited that that's happened for them and they can relax and focus on work again. And so I just wanted to point out, I listened to this before I incorporated it back into the podcast, and I did say that cast members, I think Disney will give them $18 an hour and move on to business as usual, and that is what's happened. So, hey, kudos to me. So here it is, without further ado, my conversation several weeks ago with Neal. Enjoy.
Disney is making $5 billion cuts across the board. And just to catch people up, in case you have been living under a rock, like the troll rocks from Frozen, Chapek was fired in November. Iger took over. As everybody knows, the split was pretty ugly between those two, which I'm not surprised. And stocks fell sharply. Iger vowed that restructuring would start with Disney Plus, which is their streaming division. So what this means too is, too much content was coming out, which I was loving, but it really is true when you step back and look at things like She-Hulk, maybe some of the other Marvel stuff that came out. I didn't think Boba Fett I thought Boba Fett could have been a little better. I loved it, but I thought it could have been a little better. So I think Iger was looking at the entertainment aspect. He doesn't want to just push content out continuously. He wants to protect that Disney name and put quality out. So he's reeled back on release dates for things. They're kind of just honing in on what makes them successful, and they're going to really take their time and not just put out a whole lot of new projects. But we do know that Toy Story, Frozen, and Zootopia all have more sequels in the works. And the biggest cuts of these $5 billion cuts are coming from this division. There's going to be 7,000 employee layoffs. And yeah, so what do you think about that? I mean, I like the idea that they're going to kind of restructure as far as putting out better content. You don't like to see anybody get cut or lose their job.
Well, it's interesting. We pay for Disney Plus, and I guess if you look at it from the angle of getting to see the entire library of Disney, forget new content, just the library, their work, what they've done, since the first movie. I mean, you know, the first movie I saw was probably, I don't know which one came first, whether it was Jungle Book or Mary Poppins.
Mine was Bambi, was the first Disney movie I ever saw in the theaters.
Right, right. So, you know, when you look at their library of what they've done, you know, let's just cut out. Let's go up to, my goodness. Let's go to Lion King. We'll just stop at Lion King, and you can click on a button and see all that. You know, you know, VCRs are breaking. You can't get them anymore. You still have your DVDs. Most people don't use DVD players anymore. They stream everything.
Yeah.
So is there value in being able to go on, you know, oh, it's Saturday afternoon. I've got nothing to do. I want to watch The Fox and the Hound, and press a button, and there it is. Or you decide on a Sunday, wake up early, I am going to watch every Star Wars movie. And you press a button, and you start from, which wasn't the first, obviously. Start from episode 1, and you go through until the last one. You know, where Kylo Ren expires. A terrible moment. But he was a bad guy, even though he turned into a good guy. Yeah, but you can do that. Now, for some, they might say it's not worth it for me to look at old stuff. But for some of us who love those Disney movies, being able to click on that button is pretty cool. You know, you know, of course, if you have cable and you have the Disney Channel, occasionally you'll get to see this stuff. It's not the same though. They have a lot of stuff. So Cory, do you think there's value if you remove the new things? If The Mandalorian didn't happen, if Boba Fett didn't happen,
I think for sure. As you were talking, I was going to ask you that question. That what if they just had classic content,
right?
And say, like you said, you stopped at the Lion King. We'd probably go a little further up, but
we can go.
Let's just say, you know, whatever movies are out there now, and it ends, and they're not going to put anything else out there. Is it worth it for everyone listening out there to still pay for that? And you know what? Part of me would kind of say, but you know what? I wouldn't stop paying for it, because I know that I would have that content at my fingertips to know that I can have the entire movie library of Disney from the beginning to current. You know, and then maybe they add the movies in, but like no other content there. I would still pay for it, because how about this? Who out there, you know, who is our age, whether they're 30, 40s, 50s, how many times do you hear people? I still hear people, and I heard somebody say this the other day, that they're so prideful of their VHS Disney movie collection. And it's like they mourn it, and they say, oh, I have all these movies, but I guess I'll just have to stream it now.
You know, we still have working VCRs here, but I haven't even connected them to the TV. We have a whole collection of Disney movies. You know, so here's the interesting thing that I find. You know, it seems like generation after generation, that, you know, as generations move on, like you know, my parents' generation to my generation to the next generation, I think expectations get higher from because people are just more advanced, and they're used to getting things immediately. We're spoiled. So our expectations are high, especially when we're paying money for something. Really look at the price, and I know, oh, it's so much money. Listen, we can go out and blow $100 in one meal, with a family of 4. And
tell me about it.
Right. And how much is Disney Plus for a year? I mean, you look at the monthly fee, you look at and I understand, because then there's Netflix. You're paying for cable. I mean, we pay a ridiculous price for our cable, but we pay because we want all the content that they have. And the funny thing is that content, just to get to the level of the certain content that you might want to watch, you have to get the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle. But there are people who take the option of getting YouTube TV and, just having their modem and having the ability to have internet in their house. And then you don't need to pay for cable. We do
That's
it.
us now. We're a YouTube TV family.
Right. There you go. I mean, so you save a ton of money on that. I mean, our bill is over $300 a month now. That's with only one box that records. But we do have everything, and Lucas, our son, does love the football, Red Zone. So you have to pay for Red Zone. It doesn't come with anything. Then of course there's MLB.com. So if you try and package everything together, yes, it gets expensive, but that's not fair to Disney at that point. They have a right to have their channel and, give you this content and try and sell it. Now, of course, it became problematic because although a lot of people are getting it, they're laying out a lot of money for new stuff. We do have to remember, and I know a lot of people want to forget what's happened in the last 3 years, but the planet Earth has been through a very difficult time. It's not only Disney that is having financial difficulty. It's the entire world got turned upside down. And when you talk about the losses and what the the stockholders and the shareholders, blah blah blah, well, these are all very rich people, and all they want is their money. I am sure that in time, profitability will come back to many things. Now, it's unfortunate. Smaller businesses, many of them didn't survive through the pandemic. A lot of people, they couldn't. Disney's not one of those companies. They had a difficult time. They got shut down for a long time. It cost them millions and millions of dollars, but they're making up the money now. So the streaming thing. So 7,000 people get cut. And that's pretty horrifying, especially coming off a point of life where your life was extremely difficult, and it's a lot of people still have not bounced back from it. A lot of people. So now 7,000 people are out of a job. It wasn't their fault that a new division was created. It wasn't their fault that they got hired. Do I like to hear the word 7,000 people got laid off? No. It's a tough thing to swallow. It makes you say, when you hear that, what the heck is wrong with Disney? How does somebody who brings you Belle and Simba fire 7,000 people?
The business side of Disney.
Yeah, it's so you gotta, as far as the streaming end of it and their movies, you know what? I do love. I mean, I keep it. I think this is the last season of Mandalorian.
Now, oh no!
Yeah, this is it. I believe this is it.
Let's not end it.
Mando and Grogu are going to space,
They'll
but
just hang out at Hollywood Studios now.
yeah, they'll hang out walking around, which is pretty cool.
So,
but we don't need Disney Plus for that.
No.
So to hear Bob Iger talk about cutting back on certain things, well, just like in the parks, when they don't create new stuff. Well, isn't the whole point to Disney being the greatest entertainment company in the world to create and to blow our minds? Now, I truly believe if they didn't go so far into the new animation, I know how successful Toy Story is and Pixar, and let's just call it the Pixar animation. That is not the animation of Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King. And they're doing the live things that they're doing. They make the live versions of these movies. I don't believe they do as well as the originals.
They don't.
Because the originals are masterpieces, and Disney is amazing that way. Did we need a Lion King 1, 2, 10, 50? Well, we did if they would have kept that level of amazingness going. But
I think what Disney does with that stuff, that's a total money grab when you come out with something like Lion King 2, 3, 4, 2.5. You can really compare the difference in the animation quality. It goes from Disney quality feature length film Lion King, and you go to like the sequel or the sequels to Cinderella, Little Mermaid. It goes back to the level of Saturday morning cartoons, and a lot of people may not even know what we're talking about there, but it just goes down into like hand-drawn TV quality cartoons from the 80s. Like, it's really bad.
Yep. It's not what you expect. So in their process of making money, which I completely understand, and I have no problem watching Lion King 2.5. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. I mean, I remember them. I
didn't watch them. So would you say that the story quality is Disney quality, just like the animation, not so much?
It is. I mean, they do.
This is what I think. Right. I think if Disney thought that those stories were good enough, they would have put them in the theaters.
Well, they produced them knowing they weren't going into the theaters.
Right. So we probably save money and you skimp on quality overall.
Right. We'll put it out, on a video tape. Well, no, there's no more videotapes now, but some did come out when there were videos.
Yes.
No, we'll put it out on a DVD, or we'll put it on the Disney Channel, or on ABC, which Disney owns, and let people see it. Yeah, no, they're not getting rid of ABC ever. That's
I think what they are going to do is, they are going to get rid of ESPN. They're losing a lot of money on the sports side of things. So that's just rumor, I think, but that could be something that goes. Some of the other cuts are going to be general operating costs at $2.5 billion. And that breaks down at 50% marketing, 20% technology, procurement, and other expenses, and 30% in labor. But the cuts will happen, or those cuts that we're talking about, the other 30%, that's the marketing and sales division that Bob Chapek created.
Right.
But Iger that's where they were talking about how he wants to take that back and put it more in the hands of the Imagineers and the creators. So, man, Iger must have just been rolling around in bed at night thinking about all these things Chapek did to try to take down Disney. And now he's got to come in and undo a lot of things.
So, There's the school of thought that way, and then I've read about people who say, no, Iger had this all in motion, and Chapek just put it through fruition. There's also the thought that Iger left, and everybody talked about this, that Iger left, right when things were going to get really miserable before they had to furlough all their employees. He didn't want to be the bad guy, so they went ahead and picked the bad guy, the villain, and suddenly he comes back into the picture like Prince Valiant. But we're seeing, is he really Prince Valiant? To some, what he's doing right now is pretty miserable. Right now, the Disney cast members, the union, fighting with Disney. They don't have a contract, and they won't sign the contract. They need a living wage. Some people might say, "Oh, what's wrong with $17 an hour or whatever it is?" I don't even remember. Well, to live in California, in the Anaheim area, California is very expensive to live in. It's extremely expensive. It's like living in Manhattan. Now you come to Orlando, and Orlando it's having a huge growth spurt. And living here, the rent, the home ownership, everything is just going up. If you want to buy a home, the mortgage rates have gone up. So you have to, if you want, we talked about this, the quality worker to remain, if you want somebody with experience that might have a family, well, how many people have to work in that family to allow that person to continue to work in Disney? That's a major commitment. I don't know if it's all true, whether some cast members can't afford formula. They do, many of them do live together. They share the rent. They cannot exist without somebody paying the rent. And is it right for Disney to depend on the college students, the Disney College program, to run the parks? Is that right? There are 1,000 Disney College program people, and now they're coming from international areas. They're back, and I think it's great that they're coming back. You go into the countries and you see in China, real Chinese people are working there. You go to Italy, the Italians are back. You go to Germany, the Germans are back, and in Mexico, folks from Mexico are back. It's great to see that. I like it.
But it is.
Yeah, it's great. But let's remember now, for how long have those cast members from here that have been working, they've been working now through real rough conditions when Disney opened up, during the pandemic. They stayed and they gave their hearts and souls to it, and they're getting laid off. Or they might be placed someplace else. But
yeah, hopefully they'll be replaced. They'll just be placed elsewhere.
Yeah, we hope so. But they're not exactly getting, a great salary. And I know the answer to that some people give is, well, if they really wanted to make a lot of money, they could have gone into business, or they could have gone into that, go to college and this and that. A lot of people from Disney went to college. A lot of them have degrees. There are some extremely intelligent people working in that park that might press a button to start Small World. You can't just look at somebody and say, that because they're doing something that they're not worthy of earning a better living. That's just not right. It's a ridiculous thing. Nobody knows by looking at the cover what's inside that book.
Sure. What about this though? You know, we feel like the cast members should get more money to be able to live better in Orlando. But where? Like, what my question is, what's that wage? Because we talk about, well, $18 an hour, because right now the union wanted an immediate increase to $18 an hour.
Right.
And if you're already making 18 or more, they wanted a $3 increase for an hour.
Right.
It's like, how much is the right amount?
Well,
Because I would love to live in Orlando. And I do well, and I can't live in Orlando.
Well, you can't own a home.
So
you can't own a home. That you see,
I can't own a home in Orlando. I can't even I can't rent an apartment in Orlando.
Well, it depends. You know, look, a lot of them do travel far. They come from different areas. Hey, listen.
I guess my point is, even if they get $25 an hour, or even, which is crazy, let's say even if they get $20 an hour, it's still not going to be enough.
Well, you're definitely making their lives better, and setting them in the right direction. Anything is better than nothing. Remember, they are working 8-hour days, 5 days a week. So if you're giving them every day, let's just say $25 more, that's $125 every week times 4.
Yeah,
that's $500. $500. I know you have to take taxes out. I understand that, but $500 can go towards a lot of different things. Insurance. So you never know what the right amount is, but what is the fair amount?
That's a good way to put it. Like, what's the fair amount? Because, like you said, you were kind of saying, like, and I'll add to it, like, people, you don't know every person's story, from operating Small World to handing out, that next Casey dog. You don't know their story.
No.
So with that said, I think of different perspectives, and this is a touchy subject, so you feel like anything you say of your opinion can be scrutinized.
Of
course, I love the cast members.
Hey, listen, it's funny. I went to a new restaurant in Flamingo Crossing with Alyssa, and I was talking to the manager, and I know the guy already. We've been there a number of times, and I said, it's getting hard. It's hard to get help. It's hard to get help, and I said, yeah, people, when I was young, you got a job. That's the way it is. You just got a job. You were making minimum wage, but you didn't mind, and you got a job and you worked. I said, younger kids today have a different mindset than what we had. But I said, look, even Disney's having a hard time. They the same situation with the union and paying more. And he said, we pay more than Disney. Those words came right out of his mouth, and I was like, well, that's good.
Yeah. There's so many different ways to approach this. It's like Disney makes so much money, they could easily pay all cast members like $25 an hour. They could.
Well,
but that's not realistic from a business standpoint either, I guess.
Nobody wants to hear them raise the prices. Nobody wants to pay another $1 for a soda. Nobody wants to pay another 50 cents for a pretzel. Nobody wants to do this. Nobody wants to do that. But meanwhile, everybody's coming here. Everybody's coming here.
And it's just part of business. If we have to pay a little more so the cast members get more, that's fine with me.
Sure.
Probably where I take a stance on how I look at labor and look at life, because you worked hard. You have what you have because of how you worked. I worked hard, still working hard, but I worked hard in school. I spent many years in college, and to allow me to have the things I have. So I'm kind of old school, where I'll say I think it depends on the type of cast member in their story. If you are coming in at entry level and you're a college program person, or you're fresh out of high school and maybe you just don't know what you want to do, or you're just thinking, I want to work for Disney for a few years, then you should kind of just accept what they're going to pay you. Like I said this to Tammy last night. If Jacob and Jill come home and they say, just got hired by Disney, Dad, I wouldn't care what they were getting paid, because it's a kind of expected. All right, bud, you're making $16. Great. It's your first job. It's probably all relative, but I probably made 16, back in the 80s, relative. So I probably made, like, who knows, $7, but it's probably relative to now. But you just accepted that. But if you're a person, this is where I might not be popular, and tell me if you disagree. If you're a person that you're 30 years old and you're like, yeah, I want to come work for Disney, and you do, don't complain about the pay because you decided to do that. You're 30 and you could have made something more of yourself to get a better job. So don't do that. If you're going to do it for the love of working for Disney, and don't complain about the pay, because teachers will say, I don't do it for the pay. I do it for the love. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well,
I'm a hard ass when it comes to working.
Right. But
and my views.
There are major teacher shortages throughout the country. So
there are.
And
don't come to Florida to teach because they don't pay.
Right. Even in the Sunshine State, there's teacher shortages. So, the only thing I say to that is, I don't judge, people by what they want to do. I know that people who work for Disney, for the most part, are Disney lovers. They are Disney lovers. If you're going to lose the Disney lovers, you're going to have people who are there for a different reason and a different purpose. If the people love it can't afford to live and they leave, you're going to have people who are just looking for a job, like, going to work in a fast food place or something like that.
Yeah, they need to maintain the experience.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. Yeah, so you have to pay a level of something to maintain the good level of.
You're charging $140
cast member quality.
Yeah, you're charging $140 for Genie Plus on some days. When it's heavy duty pricing, when it's crowded, you $20 a person. And then pay extra money for Rise of the Resistance. Yeah. So you have to have a certain level of quality. Even
you do.
People who are cleaning the tables, the people who are cleaning the restrooms, they have to enjoy what they're doing and want to be there. Yeah. Otherwise,
and they're so friendly too, aren't they? Even those cast members are magical, and I make it an extra point to say hi to them and ask them how their day's doing, because nobody in general in the parks is paying attention to the person that's changing the trash, or even thinks to want to speak to them. They're more apt to speak to the person getting them on the ride for Small World or something like that.
Absolutely. It's whenever I'm in the room and I see a gentleman cleaning up after people who are disgusting, because there are a lot of them.
Let's face it, they are. And I would say, from what this just came to mind. When I'm in the bathroom, I would say one in maybe we won't go that far. 1.5 men wash their hands before leaving.
It's horrifying.
It's gross.
I agree with you.
I look at them all the time and I want to say, but you don't want to start anything in Disney. Are you really just going to leave and not wash your hands? Okay, maybe I've said that twice.
Well,
but we live in a world, the competition first.
Yes, we live in a world where today it's best not to get into controversial topics with people when you're in a theme park or anywhere else.
But I go, you just had your hands where, and now you're going to go on, let's just say Small World again, because that seems to be the topic. You're going to go on Small World now, and you're going to touch the seat, and then I'm going to touch the seat.
Well, now you know why my wife and I always carry around a bottle of hand sanitizer to
So
this
does Jill.
day.
Yep.
To this day. You
we,
go in there.
We hate putting our fingers on the finger scanner coming in the parks.
Yeah.
Right away, we all scan, we stop, we turn, we all spray our finger, and then we move on.
Yep. That it's just it's a natural thing that we do. We don't even think about it. And when I forget sanitizer, I'll run back to the car, even if it takes me 10 minutes to get back. Go back to the car, or buy something. Yeah, you know, look, there's a lot of things that when you have a job where you do well, and you know, you talk about my goodness, I remember minimum wage being, oh God, was it $5 an hour or less when I started working? You know, but to a young kid at 14.
Yeah, it's your first job. You just expect, you know, a certain wage, and you just get the job, and that's it.
Yeah, but you know, but when you're recruiting people to do certain jobs, and I mean, they have families, they have that. It's beyond just whatever. But so that's cost cutting. So okay, so they're going to cut on whatever. Let's hope they're not going to cut on the cast members in the park, that they're not going to fire them.
That's what they're saying, that
right.
You won't see cuts in the parks. You'll see them behind the scenes.
Yeah, they can't. They're having a difficult enough time running things the way they are. And I will tell you, you know, Alyssa and I went to a really beautiful restaurant in one of the better hotels in Disney World the other day, and we love where we went. I'm not putting names in, doesn't matter. And we were a little disappointed. It took forever. We were sitting and sitting and sitting and we're going, what is going on here? They're still short-handed. They're still short-staffed. And many businesses are. They can't get people to work.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. They can't get people to work. And when you want people to work, you have to sweeten the pie. That's the bottom line. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to get people to work.
Yeah.
You know, this is a reality that we're facing right now. And remember, the rich are still getting richer. You know, the top, you know, the CEOs and the C whatever you want to call them, they're still making a lot of money, you know. So
they are.
Yeah, it's a tough ticket. But so now, what other cuts would you think were going to happen?
That's it. That's it. Those are all the cuts that
all right,
are expected to be made.
Okay, so now here's an interesting thought. As far as development, we talked about that happening, you know, on their streaming service. And although I do love it, I do want them to continue to create new quality stuff.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up, because we would have left that as is, and people might have thought that we'd be happy with the old content only.
No. I do want them to create new quality stuff.
And they will, but they're just going to take their time with it. They want it to be Disney quality and not just keep pumping stuff out, which makes me feel good. I'm willing to wait. If I have to wait longer for some Marvel titles and Star Wars titles for it to be better, then I can wait.
Well, I mean, I hope that's what they're doing. I hope that is the fact, that they want to make better content. if that's what it really is, I'm happy. If it's just to save money, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Still, give me something that I'm going to say, this is why I love Disney.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, but before we go, let me talk about this one quickly. See what you think about this. So, and I want to just let everybody know, like, the content pieces that Neil and I talked about tonight was obtained by Disney Food Blog. I always like to give credit to where credit's due. Um, so Disney has always been big on not repeating a whole lot of attractions from one park to the other because they want them to be unique. But some of the talk now is to save some money, that we may see more rides turn up in other places. Like, I guess, I don't know if it's more than a rumor, but uh, Avatar might be going to Disneyland. Where in the heck are they going to put that anyway? But so you might start to see rides continue to turn out that are familiar because it's easier. They don't have to design something, they just rebuild something somewhere else. But they did say in the future that there will be new lands expanded and things like that. But maybe Disney just has to get all this restructuring and all this stuff out of the way before they can really get back to, well, will they ever get back to the Disney before the pandemic?
You mean creating?
Yes, and be creative. I think they will. That's very important to Eisner. I'm sorry, Iger. So, let's hope so.
Well, just a quickie aside. So Alyssa and I were driving today, and we came down a road. I don't think it was International Drive at that point, and we were on the backside, and we look to the right, and we see these cranes and new parts of roller coasters and what looked to be a new hotel and buildings in huge scale. And what is it? It's Universal's new park. Now, I know she talked about this on the food blog.
She did.
Yes, she did. And we saw it. It looks immense. And, for people who are going to enjoy roller coasters and stuff, it looks pretty crazy. Fun. So we'll just, this last thought. So I don't mind Disney repeating what's successful in one park to another park. Tomorrow you're going to experience Tron, and it's in another park in Asia. So, but you're going to love it here, because how many of us can go to where it is in another continent?
That's a great point. Yeah, right? Bring all the great stuff here.
Yeah. So now, as far as them building Pandora in Disneyland, Pandora is mind-boggling. I mean, you're in it at night, even during the day. You walk through and you're transformed into another world. Why shouldn't folks in California get that pleasure without having to fly here? Some of them can't. I have no problem with them building Pandora there and making a new flight of passage and a Navi River journey. It doesn't bother me at all that they're doing that. It does bother me, though, that they're doing nothing with Cranium Command. That building, they were supposed to do something with it. I understand that. I didn't like what they were doing anyway, making a playroom for kids and all, whatever, games. No, put a damn attraction in there.
Yeah.
Let's make use of the land. Don't knock down one of the things we really enjoy to build another attraction. And they're going to have to do, like she said, she doesn't think they're going to keep up with Universal. I don't believe that either. I don't want Disney to make another park right now. They can't. If they're having this financial setback or whatever. But don't tell me that it's going to take years and years and years for us to see new attractions that blow our minds. That's not fair. Like I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Splash Mountain. I can't wait to see it when Tiana takes over. It's going to be wonderful.
There's a segment that I recorded before you and I talked tonight, and the storyline has been released for the ride. So,
oh, cool! I didn't know that.
Listening to this, would have listened to it here
okay.
on the podcast.
Yeah. So I mean, with me, I mean, I don't. It's not like how I felt when they took out the Great Movie Ride or Horizons or and Ellen's Energy Adventure, which I truly like better as Universe of Energy. I really wish they would have just redone these things. I wouldn't have been mad at Disney to redo Universe of Energy and made it better so that we could continue to watch it. But I guess the thing is roller coasters. So bye-bye Universe of Energy. Bye-bye, whatever. We get Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I understand that. It's more popular. But you can't sit here and be able to accept that they're not going to do anything with Dino Land, that the roller coaster is gone, and they're not going to replace that. They're just going to leave a barricade there. No. They have to do something. They have
sure
to.
They do.
Yeah, I mean, this is why we love Disney. If they don't create, then they're no better than anybody.
Yeah. I'm with you. That won't happen. They'll put something in there, and maybe there'll be something announced at Destination D, which is something new to me. Destination D is coming this September.
Yes.
To Orlando. We need to get tickets for that. Would you like to go? I'd like to attend that.
Well, it's going to be interesting.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, isn't it like the light version of D22?
Yes. Yeah, and announcements will be made. There were some epic announcements made the last time it was here. It might even have been Avatar.
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, how great is it going to be when the walls come down in Epcot?
I talked to an Imagineer and, well, I should say a cast member who is, again, another high-ranking cast member, very high-ranking. And I said to him, I'm frustrated with these walls in Epcot, so I don't even know what's going to be behind those walls at this point. I said, Moana's taking shape, but what are we going to see? And he said, trust me, your mind is going to be blown when those walls come down. Yeah, and I trust him on that.
Me too. And I truly believe it's going to be great. It's a little bit disappointing that we went into that room in the Odyssey and saw that beautiful display, right?
Yes.
And it was there for a long time. And then little by little pieces that they cut were gone, until finally they disbanded the whole room. Well,
yes,
I don't mind that they're not making that tall building in the front, that the monorail, whatever, was going to stop it. That doesn't bother me. Looking forward to when the walls come down. And the thing that Disney fans is they're appreciative and they're grateful. And they truly, truly are loyal. They are loyal to a fault. We're all that way. I joke with you, with the ladies that buy all the lounge flies, including Tammy. What are you spending all that money on lounge flies? But that's loyalty to a brand. And we live here and we see it all the time. How many people are in these parks? It's astounding. They are breaking records. That loyalty has got to be repaid. We just can't sit back and say, okay, we're satisfied, because there are other companies right down the block. SeaWorld, Universal, that are being inventive, and they are. And they are. I don't want to see Disney lose people to Universal and to SeaWorld. That would break my heart. So let's hope they stay on top of it. I mean, like I said, I can't wait down. And you know what? The walls really, they don't bother me. I just don't want to walk around the whole place anymore to get from one point to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're rats in a maze.
Yes. Now, whenever we look at Soarin', and we go on all the time together, and the last scene when you're heading towards Spaceship Earth,
yes,
you know, and Tinkerbell is doing the pixie dust, but you look down and you see the flags that used to cover the pin trading and all. And,
all in the center of the fountain.
Sure, the fountain, and you remember that stuff and how long ago that was. And then you say, God, we used to just walk right through that. I can't wait. I can't wait to just be able to walk freely through there. And I know it's going to be insanely crowded when that happens. And Disney will see how much their fan base, their people, just stick with them. Mm-hmm. And us sticking with them means that the cuts can't hurt the loyal people. That would be a shame. That's shameful. I just hope they understand that. You know, they're breaking records right now, and they deserve it. Great company, most imaginative company you'll ever find. Don't take advantage of people. There are people spending their last pennies to come here.
They are.
They save their entire life to make a trip to Disney World. They are not Cory and Neal who can just get in their car, have annual passes, and come. No, they save and save and save to get this experience. Don't take advantage of them. That would really be sad. You know, please make us happy, and we'll stick with you, and the future will be bright. There's no doubt about it.
And I think it will. You know, Disney is still Disney, and I still think Iger's the right guy to have in there. Maybe he won't do everything he does, won't make everybody happy, but you know, maybe Disney's just holding out and try to play real hardball. But I'm gonna say I think Disney turns around and gives them that $18. Maybe I'm being optimistic. They do that. Iger gets things in shape, and we can start getting back to adding new creativity to the parks, because I think he still did say that, if I'm not mistaken, on the conference call, that, you know, we will be adding to the parks. But I think they've got to straighten things out financially from where they feel like they need to see it, and then things will happen.
So. I agree with you. Now, I'm just going to close with two little quick statements. So my lovely wife and my son got me a plaque that I put on my desk. And you know this statement. We see it on shirts. We see it everywhere. It says, "There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow." It's colorful. And I remember just words, tomorrow's child. You know, the future is on its way. Tomorrow's child. We just want tomorrow's child to get the same great experience that we got from this amazing company, and the lessons that they've taught us through the years, through their movies, through their attractions, through cast members with big smiles. Just seeing Walt Disney when I was a kid on Sunday on the World of Disney, just seeing that castle with Tinkerbell at the beginning has always amazed me. You know, and I'm an artist. I'm a musician. I was a teacher. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to amaze me, but They've been able to do it. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that there is a big, beautiful tomorrow, and that tomorrow's child is going to enjoy life and enjoy this great Disney thing the same way that we do. Let's hope.
Well said. Thanks for joining me, Neal, and we can look forward to visiting with Neal on many DIZ Pods to come.
Yes, and if you're listening, you've got to check out tomorrow live. Now, obviously, this will come out afterwards, but then watch it on the replay, because we've got to see if Cory can get on Tron and show it to everybody while he's going, ah!
Exactly.
We've got to see it. So let's hope that all works out tomorrow.
Yes. Let's hope so. I have faith. If you're about to start planning your next vacation, book your next vacation with Your Magical Adventures Await. Claudia is creating Disney Adventures worldwide. She can create a magical adventure to Walt Disney World, Florida, any Disney park worldwide, Disney Cruise Lines, Alani Resort in Hawaii, guided group vacation with Adventures by Disney, and she's also a Universal Studios expert. If you book with her, her services are free. Disney pays her to help you create a seamless, magical adventure. Her availability is really unmatched. You can contact her Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday and Sunday, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Make your magical planner Claudia Inderson from Your Magical Adventures Await, 956-455-8049, or check her out on Instagram with instant message Claudia Inderson, all one word. That's CLAUDIAINDRIDSON. And as a special bonus, if you book with her, all traveling members of your party will receive a special Living in DIZ luggage tag. So make sure you let her know that we sent you. If you're a fan of our channel, Living in DIZ, for some kind of time, you've been enjoying Disney through the eyes of our family. So what about enjoying Disney through your own eyes? How can you accomplish that? You'll want to contact Victor Naraki. With over a decade of helping people find the homes of their dreams right near Disney, Victor is the perfect realtor of La Rosa Realty Horizons to help you find the home of your dreams. Simply go to DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com. That's DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com. And don't forget to tell him that Living in DIZ sent you.
That'll do it for another week of the DIZ Pod. Make sure you check us out on the Swell app. That's SWELL. We broadcast and drop 5-minute podcasts throughout the week, with the most consistent one being the post live stream walkout from wherever we live streamed during the week. And you can usually count on those within the next 30 minutes of going off the air. And again, we drop every Monday, 9 a.m., a full-length podcast right here where you're listening to, and we hope you continue to follow and enjoy. If you want to contribute in any way, you can do that right on Spotify with ad-free sponsorship. You can also check us out over at YouTube, our channel Living in DIZ, and in the description of any video there, go to the live streams and the replays and click on those, and you will find links for becoming a DIZ Club member and also becoming a Patreon. There's so much to see over there. Check out our website, livingindiz.com. So many great things going on over there. You want to check that out. All you want and need to know about the members of the channel You can sign up for our email list there so you're alerted anytime we have news, with an extended schedule of our live streams. It's a 3 live stream lineup. Those are typically updated every single Saturday morning. And please send us some questions. We'd love to read them on the air here at livingindiz@gmail.com. For Mushu, Jacob, Jillian, Tammy, I'm Cory from Living in Diz. Thank you so much for being dedicated to our family, our channel, our podcast. Thank you so much for allowing us to be your ticket to Disney. And we'll see you in the parks.